Are you sure about this? What you're suggesting? Broadcasting this message is a ludicrous betrayal to resent what our forefathers had to fight to build. She paused, catching her spent breath, before continuing to tantrum on. To surrender it? To this ad hoc ideology of a Federal Affiliocracy? No one will stand for it. You haven't even passed it through House. Her tone raised. James, unsteady, rose from his chair, looming over Halye with resentment, and his eyes looked towards the cracked window, to a city of smoked pillars. Closing in gunfire could be heard. Yellow-tinted lines in the distance could be seen, like a shooting star, appearing and disappearing in a brink, creating stripes across the sky, raining, hitting, cursing destruction upon the surface. James, watching the world outside, spoke slowly, hesitant to speak, stuttering to find the words on which to fight. And paused again, taking a faint breath, which almost stumbled, before continuing in a gentle but authoritative tone. What choice do we have, Halye? His tone sharpens like a knife, his eyes now looking directly towards Halye, trying to pierce through her. Well? He pauses briefly, raising an aggressive but mannered tone. What choice? To fight to the last soldier? The last bullet? I must do what's right for the people. This war has spilled too much blood, ruined a decade's worth of space expansion and growth. To continue fighting when we've lost? There's Mahil. Where's his relief force? Her voice didn't change nor crackle. Still confident and almost delusioned. James spoke with defeat. Mahil's not coming, Halye. Federal forces have embargoed that hope. What do you mean? That call I just received, Halye. That was Gibbs. A massive federal force has flanked our defensive perimeter, while federal naval elements have breached our orbital defense grid. James stumbled back into his seat, hiding his face behind one of his hot, cold, sweat hands, shaken with worry. You mean we're open to orbital strikes? She raced to the window, seeing a backdrop of raining projectiles in the distance. With a second instinctive nature, she grabbed both of James's shoulders, trying to pry them off the chair, while simultaneously tapping an earpiece. Her tone switched to one of protectiveness and urgency. EET, we need you in main office, ASAP. Start EUGO procedures. Potential hostile OTS are inbound. Halye's arms pounced around James with a firm grip, stubbornly trying to tug the boulder that was engrounded into the chair. We must get you underground now, she said. I appreciate your consideration, and I understand as my ASIO you have to. But please don't. I'm not letting this prolong. James cuts off as Halye intervenes. Chief, it's my personal duty to ensure your security. Please, we must get you to safety. No. I'm staying. Get all the staff to safety, but I'm staying, and that's an order. The two faced each other, locked in a conflict of hostile silence, both speaking to each other's wishes through an intense glare, conflict on each other's opinions. James breaks the silence with a lower, friendlier, but sincere tone. You always have been one for determination, always carry on, hold hope, even when it seems impossible. But I have asked you, please. He pauses. Please, this time, lay down peacefully. The time for blood is over. We tried fighting, and now we are on the brink of defeat. Please, let us end this somewhat diplomatically. Halye speaks with diffuse, unable to sway James's persistence. She speaks with a reluctant support. Chief, she contenses a breath. Are you really doing this? James stood back up, face towards Halye, brushing his fingers through what little hair he had, ploughing out his sweat before again moping towards the window with a sigh, glancing only his head towards her. He speaks with defeatism, but yet his voice finds confidence and reasoning. What's left of the army is scattered across our nation. Their morale has been shattered. Our fleets and ground forces have been routed or encircled. Even the state guard defending this very city is on the brink. With logistical lines severed, they're picking up the limbs of fallen comrades like vultures just to try and push back. And now, their navy looms uncontested over our heads. over our nation's very heart. Like a surgeon's knife, they precisely cut into anything remotely defensive. He pauses, watching a not too far orbital strike destroy a distant building in one found swoop, crumbling it to rubble as if it was a biscuit crushed under a hand. His head shifts fully towards the dust-washed window. Raising his left arm, he points towards Main Street into the capital, littered with war-torn relics of cars, long evacuated from their owners, crumbling buildings, segments of the once proud and bustling street. Soldiers fully clothed with a thick yet light fibrous material rush around like ants. They can be seen hastily placing improvised barricades, laying mines and analysing defensive positions. Armoured vehicles, angular and sleek, can be seen bunkering in ditches, only popping their weapons out like a meerkat. Bulky people towering utilitarian trucks hog up the capital's driveway, barely squeezing onto the smog-white bricked road. They hastily prop up an assortment of weapons, ground to orbital missiles to large battery guns, shading upon the capital's once large, lush, green gardens below. James continues, their forces are 2 districts away from us. We'll hold out a week maximum. But for what cause? What reasoning? Other than the cost of more blood, more lives, more destruction. This civil war has gone on long enough. So, to answer your question, yes, I really am doing this.